Hello there, people of the internet. After trudging through the swamps in order to get out here, I have come up with some thoughts. Normally, I would want to pick something that is of a decent caliber and of a decent amount of firepower if I'm going to end up picking something to use for practical purposes. And I would want to do that simply because I want as much firepower as I can put downrange as possible. However, now that I'm out here at a gun range and I had to trudge through a bunch of swamp and whatnot in order to get out here, I have made a complete discovery and completely changed my mind on that fact. I have figured out that the platform that you are going to be running is going to be more important than the ammunition choice it is that you're going to pick. From a practical standpoint, I would probably pick something like a 9mm carbine, just because my capabilities as a shooter do not really extend beyond the ranges of a 9mm carbine. Not only that, but this right here is a very economic firearm to shoot. It's not very expensive to get 9mm nowadays, and if we're talking a 115 grain projectile out of a carbine, 1,400 or so feet per second, it's definitely going to be powerful enough to be able to handle the things that I need handled, and it's going to be more accurate than my personal capabilities as a shooter. But of course, anyone who's ever dealt with the high-point carbines, they know that these are very heavy and cumbersome and awkward and difficult. And I tell you what, trudging through the swamps of Florida in order to get out here, because there's no way the cougar's getting out here. I already made a video talking about this new gun range that I'm currently at. Trudging through the swamps of Florida in order to get out here, definitely not something that I want to carry a bunch of equipment to do, because boy, is that difficult. And carrying out this very heavy 9mm high-point carbine out here was not the easiest thing to get done. I'm sure that some people are going to go into the comments and they're going to tell me to use a sling. I had to have this inside of a carry case because I was going through public areas, and I definitely do not want to have this rifle slung over my back and end up getting myself into trouble. So this was inside of a carrying case, which I had on hand. I did not have it on my body, and then I had to go trudging through a bunch of stuff. So yeah, that was definitely quite the adventure. So although the cartridge is ideal for what it is that I would pick with my personal practical applications, it is the platform, the high point chassis that this right here is being fired out of, is not ideal for the situation that I found myself in. If I was going to take this out as a survivalist rifle, I've used this rifle as a survivalist rifle before. I think it has served me very, very well, but I've never had to go through the things I've went through in order to get out here, and I tell you what, that right there was quite the journey. But if I had to use this as a survivalist rifle, it would absolutely serve my purposes well enough, because here in Florida, a 9mm can basically do anything, especially with proper shot placement, and especially since most of your shots aren't going to be going beyond like 100 yards if we're talking about hunting purposes. Now, if we're talking about defending yourself against particular things, then I might want something a little bit more than 9mm, but from a practical survivalist standpoint, yeah, this right here is definitely enough. A lot of people are going to go into the comments and they're going to yell at me and tell me, hey, you never know what's going to happen in your survivalist situation. You might have to defend yourself with XYZ tool that you decide to use. And to that, my argument is, I have been in several survivalist situations. None of them have involved gunfights. They've all involved using a particular firearm to feed you and your family, and that's it. It takes a lot for gunfights to start raising up unless you're in Chicago, in which case just go walking down the street. But just because the 9mm is ideal for my particular situations, this platform is not. I'm probably going to look into getting myself something like a Kel-Tec Sub 2000 that folds up, that I can fit inside my backpack, because that would definitely be a 9mm that is dramatically more ideal than this very large, heavy, over-encumbersome little carbine. Like, with the weight of this rifle, I may as well be rocking an AR. It's absolutely nuts. Okay, let me just shoot some things. I'm sure that you guys, wow, that was really cool. I'm sure that you guys want to just see me send some stuff flying into the air. So I'm basically just shooting like things that are on the ground. This is a public range. We're going to have other people shooting in the background. I'm just shooting at things at the ground, making them fly up into the air. It's a good time. Let's do it. Oh, there goes that thing too. Oh, that thing didn't fly up nearly as much as I would like. Okay, all right. I like the 9mm. I like the way that this thing goes. However, if I had to do it all over again, of course I'm going to be bringing much larger, heavier, more encumbersome things out here because I run a gun channel and I have to bring things out here in order to shoot them. I got like an 88-90, actually a couple of 88-90s, the Steyr straight pull rifles that I'll be bringing out here. K31, I got to bring that out here. I got Mosin and Mausers and all sorts of stuff that I got to bring out here to send lead downrange. So I'll have to get around to doing that. But if I did not have to do that, and I was talking about specifically just for practical purposes, I have this right here. This is a Henry Takedown 22 long rifle. The entire firearm, along with like 24 rounds of ammunition, sits inside this buttstock right here. This right here opens up, break it all down, toss it in here, and then I literally have this inside of my backpack. This is a hands-free, very lightweight item that I can carry around. And if I had to pick, this is absolutely what it is that I would choose to go with, as opposed to something like the Hi-Point carbine, which I have to really invest time and effort into lugging around. But this right here, I've shot this on the channel plenty of times. You guys have seen it plenty of times. It is like my only semi-auto 22 long rifle that is actually mine, that is not a replica. Like I've got my MP40 and my STG-44 by GSG, but they're not that great whenever it comes to 22 long rifles. They're mostly just for show and for representation purposes. However, something like this right here, I actually really like this 22 long rifle. Breaks down, fits with the buttstock, throw it in a backpack, you have your ammunition right with it. Takes magazines, so you don't have to sit there worrying about loading something from a tube. This right here is actually a really good option. And if I had to pick for practical purposes, just because of the platform, not the cartridge, but the platform, I would probably go with this right here. 9mm is dramatically more powerful, and I definitely trust it way more than 22 long rifle, unless I'm going after something like squirrels. So yeah, I tend to go after bigger things than just squirrels. But I would still probably take this right here, just because of the ease of transporting this thing. Transporting a firearm is definitely way more of a consideration than actually using that firearm, in my own personal opinion. So, speaking of using a firearm, let's shoot some stuff down here. I'm going to see if I can make some stuff bounce up with this 22 long rifle. 22 long rifle's not very powerful though. This right here is probably approximately, rough estimation, 175 or so foot-pounds of energy on target at the muzzle, and that's probably 20 yards or so away. Hey, that thing actually bounced up. I know the last time I shot something out here with the 22 long rifle, it barely bounced up at all. Here, I've actually got a bunch of boxes right here. Let's grab this, toss it out that way. Yeah, I'll shoot that and see if I can get it to bounce around. Oh, I missed. There we go, that got it. It's doing some adorable little bouncing, that's awesome. The 9mm absolutely hurled it like 20 feet in the air. So, there you go. Not as powerful, but boy, that is a really good option. I'd probably end up going with something like this as opposed to something like the 9mm if I was going for practical purposes and not for filming for a YouTube channel. Alright, well folks, I'm going to go ahead and end this episode here. Thanks for watching, I appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share. Description below has a link to all sorts of stuff. Go check it out. You guys go off, have yourself a fantastic day. I will see you guys on the next episode. Since I've done this.
Bonnie and Clyde be damned. The poor man's Garen. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.